Hello there, this is Professor Eckhouse, and I'm going to talk today about adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So we're going to start with modeling addition of two mixed numbers that have like denominators. So all we're going to do is models for the first 4 examples, I think. So after that, we won't be using models anymore. So make sure you can make sense of these models. So 1 1/4 is this one. And then 2 1/4 is this one. And when we add it together, we get the wholes lead to these wholes, and then these 2 quarters come together to make that right there. All right, so what we end up with is we basically just add the 2 whole numbers to get 3, and then we add 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, so 3 2/4, which of course can then be reduced to 3 1/2. All right, so now let's try another one. Model 2 1/3 and 1 1/3. So the top one is 2 1/3, the second one is 1 2/3. So the wholes come together to make these 3. And then the parts come together to make 1 and then 2. So there's 3 1/3, which is a whole. Okay, so what we get here, if you think about it, is we get 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, which of course is 1. So 3 and 1 is 4. Okay? All right, next one. Write an addition problem and the solution for this next problem. So let's move that one out of the way, and we get an addition problem. So first we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So make sure everything's got 6, just to kind of, yeah, everything's got 6. All right, so this first one, and we're going to do it with mixed numbers. So here's 1, and here's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 2 1/6 plus 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 4, 6. So how many wholes do we get? We get 3 wholes. And how many 6 do we get? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 5, 6. 3 and 5, 6. All right, next one, example 4. And if you're using the OneNote, you can go to the PolyPad where I actually had made a bunch of these examples and play with more of these. All right, so the first one is 1 3/5, and the second one is 2 3/5. So we end up with the 3 wholes coming from these up here. But then we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fifths. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fifths, which means we've made another 1 right here. Okay, and another way to think about it is to just do it with, the numbers. 1 plus 2, the whole numbers, is 3. And then we have 3/5 plus 3/5 is 6/5. So this right here leads to 1 1/5. You can't have an improper fraction in a mixed number. That's not allowed. So we're going to have to change this to 3 and 1 1/5. 3 and 1 1/5 is 4 1/5, which you can see here. Here's our 4. And here's our 1/5. Okay, so adding mixed numbers with a common denominator with no models this time. So step 1 is to add the whole number, step 2 is to add the fractions, and then simplify as best you can. Okay, so let's do the whole numbers in blue. So I've got 2 plus 5, so that's what I want to do first. And then I'm going to think about the fractional part, the 1/9 plus the 5/9. So remember, 2 and 1/9 just really means 2 plus 1/9. That's what it means, 2 and 1/9. Okay, so make sure you understand that that's what that means. And then this portion over here, of course, means 5 plus 5/9. So we're just adding all that together. And I'm just putting it in order. So we see 2 plus 5 is 7. And 1/9 plus 5/9 is 6/9. So 7 and 6/9. All right, so 6/9 reduces. So we should get this will become 7 2/3. And the way I did that was I thought, how many 3's go in 6? 2. And how many 3's go in 9? 3. All right, why don't you try this one? See what you can do with it. All right, so you should get 3 plus 7 as the whole number part that you're going to add together, and then 4/9 and 8/9 as the fractional part that you're going to add together. 3 plus 7 is 10. And then 4 ninths and 8 ninths becomes 12 ninths. All right, so we have here, I'm going to come down below, 10 and now 12 ninths is 1 and 3 ninths. All right, so now we're going to put that all together and we're going to get 11 and 3 ninths. Well, 3 ninths can still be reduced to 1/3 because there is a 3 in 3 and there are 3 3s in 9. In other words, how many 3s are in 3? 1. How many 3s are in 9? 3. All right, so I get 11 and 1/3. That is my final answer on that one. We should do the same up above here. Let's put a big box around it so you can tell which one the answer is. Okay, add by converting to improper fractions first. All right, so this is just a different method, and sometimes you're going to need it, especially when subtracting or when some other things happen. It's often easier to just convert to an improper fraction first. So the first one is this one here, 5 and 3/6. 5 and 3/6 becomes 33/6. All right, plus 2 and 5/6 becomes 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17/6. Now, as long as they have the same denominator, it's pretty easy from here. We're just going to take 33 plus 17 and put it over 6, and we get 56. All right, which is, those are both divisible by 2, so I get 25 thirds. 25 thirds. So I would reduce first before you go and try to put it as a mixed number. But if you're going to put it as a mixed number, so this is 25 thirds. How many times does 3 go into 25? 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. What's left over? 1. 8 and 1/3. So either one of those is a fine answer. I prefer that one, but you just got to watch what you're asked for. Okay, you try this one without me. Okay, we've got 2 and 3/7, which 2 times 7 is 14 plus 7, 17 over 7, plus 8 and 6/7 is going to be 8 times 7 plus 6, and you're going to get 62 over 7. All right, so this should give us then 17 plus 62 over 7, which is 79 over 7. How many times does 79 go into, 7 go into 79? 11 times, that's 77, and there's 2 left over. Okay, so either one of those is a fine answer, depending on what you're going to do with it. All right, so now we're going to look at models to subtract. These are a little bit harder to picture or draw or whatever, because it's easier to just use animations or something. But 1 is 3/3. So this model right here is showing us 1 minus 1/3. So 1 is 3/3, and so you've got to take away 1/3, and what you're left with is 2/3. Okay, so that's modeling subtraction. The next one, we're using a model to subtract 2 minus 3/4. So here we start with our 2, and then we're going to split it up, each of them into 4/4, so we can take away 3/4. And so then on this one is still our 1 right here. But now we've taken away 3/4, right? And it's gone. So what are we left with? We are left with this darker orange portion right here, because we've taken away this part here. And so that gives us 3/4. Not that you can do that without a model, but sometimes it's nice to really just see what's going on. All right, 2 minus 1 and 2/5. All right. So as they get lighter colored, it means they're going away. So here we've got our 2. Now we're going to turn it into things we can work with. So the 1 goes away, that goes away, and so does this. And we're left with 3/5. So notice we had to say, let's see, 1 and 5/5 minus 1 and 2/5. So it's kind of complicated, but anyway, I forgot the 1s there. So we end up with 3/5. So it's more straightforward to subtract improper fractions. It's just more straightforward. But let's use a model one more time. And we've got 1 and 1/4 minus 3/4. So I took this 1 and 1/4, and I took it and turned the 1 into 4/4. Okay, so now we've got 4/4 plus 1/4, and then we're subtract 3/4. Okay, so we had to get rid of this one, and this one, and we're left with 2/4. Okay, so we get 2/4 left over. Whew. Sometimes modeling with subtraction is kind of a mess. So let's just look at how to do it with numbers. So if no borrowing is necessary and all the numbers are positive, subtract the whole number. So you would just say 3 minus 1 is 2, and then subtract the fractional portions. 5/6, 5/6 minus 1/6 is 4/6, 4/6. Okay, so we subtracted the 3 minus 1, and then we subtracted the 5/6 minus the 4/6, minus the 1/6 to get 4/6. We're not done yet because we have to reduce that now, so we get 2 2/3. All right, now here's the problem. What if this number was bigger than 5? Or if they were switched, if it was 1/6 on the left and 5/5 on the right? Well, you're going to have to borrow. Borrowing is a mess. So, improper fractions method always works. It always works. So I recommend this method is if borrowing is necessary, or if there are negative numbers, or if you just don't want to decide which method, because it always works. So you convert to improper fractions, you subtract the fractions, you convert back to mixed numbers, and then you simplify. Okay? So practice a few of these, then also learn how to do them on your calculator. Remember to learn how to use your tools properly, but also know how to do it by hand. Use your tool to check your answer on the homework. If you skip steps and just go straight to the calculator on the homework, you'll get the right answer, but you won't know what you're doing. So also make sure you know what a reasonable answer is. All right, so on number 11, we are supposed to estimate the answer first, and then find the difference by hand. Right, find the difference by hand, and then find it on your calculator. So we're going to do 3 different things, and these are all skills I really want you to know. So 1, estimate the answer first. All right, so this is around 8 minus around 6. It's going to be a little bit more to one side or the other, but let's just say it's going to be maybe around 2-ish, right? 2.5, 1.5 to 2.5, somewhere in there. So just make sure your answer makes sense in the end. Now, step 2, we are going to also find the answer by hand. This isn't really step 2, it's just answer number 2. It's 3 different problems here. I want you to estimate, find the difference by hand, and then find it on your calculator. All right, so step 1 is to take 8 times 13 plus 4, and I get 108 over 13 minus, now I'm converting to improper fractions, right? 6 and 9/13. 6 times 13 plus 9 is going to be 87/13. We're going to subtract the top, 108 minus 87 over 13. It's going to be 21/13, or 1 8/13. Okay, 1 8/13. So look at that. It was a little over 1/2. A little over 1/2, between, bigger than 1/2 and close to 2. So that's about what we said. Now find the difference on your calculator. So I've got my 30XS. I wish I could show you. But we are going to use the button that is above the ND button. It's above it, and it's in green, and it says U N over D, like that. That's the one we want to use. We're going to enter this number, and we're going to enter this number, and we're going to subtract. And then once you get over here, you want to find the button. It's above the times 10 to the N button. It's above that. Okay, and I need to turn that to purple because that one was purple. All right, and then above that, there's this button that says this. It says N over D. It has a double arrow facing off it, which means toggle. Toggle back and forth between those two things. So now, in order to convert back and forth between these two, you just use that button. All right. So add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Oh, here's the steps right here. I'm not even going to read them to you, but man, is it a pain. It is a pain. So now is when you guys get to start just using your calculator. I do want you to first estimate, and then I want you to add or subtract on the calculator. Okay, so estimate first. That's going to be your first step. All right, so 1, estimate. Just in case you screw up, you'll have a clue as to what the answer should be. All right, so we've got 3, a little bit more than half, and 4.5. So let's see, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus a little bit more. We're probably going to get to around 8. Around 8. So now you're going to take your calculator. You're going to take your calculator and you're going to put it in. You don't even have to convert it. You can just use the mixed number button. So here's the number button I was talking about. It's above the n over d. You have to hit the second button in order to get to all of these green ones right here. Okay, so that's all you have to do, hit the second button. And then enter the three parts. Use these arrows right here. There are arrows here to move around your fraction. Okay. All right, and remember there's just going to be a minus in between the two numbers. Or a plus, sorry, a minus or a plus. That's what we're working on right now. All right, so estimate that one. Let's pause the video and try this one and try B and see how you do. All right, so for this one, you should get 49 sixths or 8 and 1/6. And I should actually say and, because I want you to be able to find them both. So find the button right up here, right there above the times 10 to the n, that will toggle back and forth. So try that. All right, so step 1 was to estimate. Step 2 is to do it in the calculator and then look and see how close you were to your estimate. Next one, same deal. Let's do the same thing. We're going to estimate. So 8 and something minus 5 and a little bit more. So 8 minus 5 is 3, but it's probably going to be a little less than 3, a little bit less than 3. Because we're subtracting more than 5, almost 6. All right, so now we're going to put it in the calculator. Go ahead and try that with the video paused, and you should get 19/8 or 2 3/8. Okay, so convert back and forth. So if you're going to estimate, you really need to have it in this form so you can see how close you were. We said a little less than 3, sure enough, a little less than 3. All right, try this next one and see how you do. First estimate and then get the answer. All right, so estimating, we've got 2 and 7/11. 7/11 is about half, a little more. 2/3 is a little more than half. So when we add a little more than half to a little more than half, we're going to get a little more than 1, right? But anyway, but we're not, so there we go. We're not adding, we're subtracting. So when you subtract, you've got to think about that too, but I'm just going to say they're both a little bit more than half, so they're going to subtract each other away. 2 minus 5 is -3. So it's going to be somewhere around -3. All right, so let's see. We're going to do it exact, so you're going to put it in your calculator and just see what you get. I could show you the long way, but I'm not gonna. So you should get in the calculator -100 over 33. And that then becomes -3 and 1/33. Okay, is that around 3? Sure enough, it's very close to 3. 1/33 is very small. Okay, I think that is the end. So make sure you understand if you're told to use a calculator or that you can use it and not show your work, which is going to be the case for these adding and subtracting mixed numbers with unlike denominators. You will not be asked to work them exactly. You can use your calculator. All right, thanks for watching.